Hey there, comic book fans. I'm back from the comic shop again this week. What is it, 7 new comics? Got 5 on my pull list and 2 I pulled off the shelf, plus some freebies. But first, we'll show you my museum comics of the week. Once again, now I'm going with 2. I'm going with an indie comic and a Marvel or DC comic, probably. And this is from 1987, Good Girls. This is a Carol Leigh comic. And it's probably the first, maybe the only time I've read Carol Leigh's work, because I don't think she does many comics these days, but you can still find her work on the internet and stuff like that. But I haven't read, I was actually missing an issue of this until like mycomicshop.com opened in like the early 2000s. I bought like the one issue I was missing of this, like issue 3 or 4, I don't even remember. And that was probably the last time I read them all together. There's a few different stories, including a story about, the one I remember is there was a woman, she was a white American woman who was raised by an African tribe. And she came back to America, and it was sort of her fitting into America. A little comedy story, and there was other stories in there, sort of everyday life stuff. But I like that cover, just kind of sitting there, hanging out in the bar, getting their martini mixed, and she doesn't look very happy there. And then the other one, I don't know if I've had this one out before. I think I have, only because I always liked Copperhead because of the copper mask and the trench coat. But I remember pointing out somewhere or something, this is probably the worst drawn cat ever. Gil Kane, master of human bodies, but not cat bodies. Wow, is that a terrible cat. But this is one of the Marvel 10th anniversary covers, but the very end of it, when they didn't quite have the box anymore, they ended up with just the line before getting rid of it altogether. But those are my 2 pulled off my shelf so I can put them on top of my printer and look at them all week. And then we've got, take a look at the freebies first. So we got comic shop news here with the dilapidated building. What's that? What's the furthest place from here? I don't know. Their Father's Day hell did slowly go by, a record-setting post-apocalyptic tale. I guess it's that? Oh, that's the actual name of it. What's the furthest place from here? All these long-named comics they got now, that there's one of them. So, comic shop news. Let's see what's inside. We have. Oh, this is one of those that's mostly order numbers. So, look through that. And then the freebies I got. Saturday was Batman Day, and DC put out some free Batman books. And John was working at the comic shop, said like no one was in there Saturday looking for these books. So got some free Batman books. I don't know what this one looks like, a Batman Adventures or Batman Day Special Edition, Batman Night Watch, Batman The World Special Edition, Fortnite Batman, and they all have Batman Day Special Edition up there. I'll give them a look, Let's look at the comics I actually bought. We got vinyl number 4. This one has been weird. This is our serial killers versus a cult, a mystic cult. And there's actual like supernatural superpowers in this one too. And all over a retired FBI agent. Those are our serial killer twins. Nice and bloody and wacky and wild stuff. If you want to see serial killers versus a mystical, magical cult, this is the book for you. Then we got Radiant Black, which sort of a Power Rangers-ish story, except all these people on Earth. One of them has been our main character, but he's met a few of them now. For some reason, someone sent these superhero suits to them that give them powers, and now there's this other guy on Earth who they have to defeat, otherwise he'll destroy Earth, kind of thing. But we really don't have any answers to what's going on. But I think last issue was a big battle between, I can't remember if there's 4 or 5 of our Radiant Red, Radiant Yellow, Radiant whoever. Is that the guy they were fighting back there? That must be the guy they were fighting. Or something. No, the guy with the hood they were fighting. These are all the Radiant people. Oh, look, it's a wraparound. There we go. But superhero-ish stuff, I guess you'd call it. Who's it? Kyle Higgins and Marcelo Costa. Then we've got Once and Future. Issue 20, this is. Long Live the King. Okay, Once and Future 20. This is one that takes place. It has to do with like the mythology of England. And this one woman and her grandson were kind of keeping a lid on all these mythological creatures. Then something happened and they all escaped. And I think at the end of last issue, a second King Arthur showed up. I'm not even sure. Because the villain of the piece has been this King Arthur resurrected. Oh, look at that. But now, like, England is overrun by these sort of legendary monsters, and they got to figure out what to do. There's our lead character, the Grandma, who people have taken to be calling Grandma Buffy, because she's like... she was trying to hold back all the demons. But Kieran Gillen, Dan Mora, and Tamara Bonvillain have been enjoying this one for 20 issues now. Wow, it's been a while. And Norse Mythology, this has just been really good. Craig Russell adapting the Neil Gaiman book of Norse myths, and it's just so well done. Neil Gaiman... he wrote the original book, but he doesn't have anything kind of to do with this. It's all Craig Russell, who takes Neil Gaiman's text and turns it into a comic book form and does the layouts for it. And Mark Buckingham is doing the pencils on this. He's doing the inks too. Yeah, he's doing the inks too. And they've had a few different artists work over Craig Russell's layouts, and Mark Buckingham has been one of the best so far. And they're just the old Norse stories, and they're just told in a really, really good way. It's just an excellent, excellent comic book. This is volume 2. 4th issue. First volume was 6 issues. This probably going to be 6 too. And then the last thing on my pull list was The Last Ronin, issue number 4, which is an expensive comic, a $9 comic. This is the first Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles comic I've ever bought. This series, fourth, and they're slightly bigger. They're like Golden Age comic size rather than you can see they're slightly bigger than we got now. I think the original Turtles black and white comics were this size. So this is the last Turtles story kind of thing, where they're giving us what happened at the end of the Turtles' career or something like that. So it's kind of like a what-if story, you would call it, because they're going to keep making the regular Turtles stuff. But it's been fun. Who's doing this? Eastman, Laird, Waltz, Escorza, Bishop, and Delgado. Story, Kevin Eastman. Supposedly, Eastman and Laird, the original Turtles creators, came up with this like in the late 80s, and it was never done. But now, the script is by Tom Waltz and Kevin Eastman. The layouts by Kevin Eastman. Oh, and the inks by Eastman, too. Esau and Isaac Escora. Oh, is that even... Boy, there's a lot of people on this. I don't even know who's doing what now. But... I've been enjoying it. Like I said, I was a little too old for the Turtles when they hit big, so I was never a big Turtles fan, but I'm enjoying this last Turtles story. Then 2 things I picked off the shelf. Impossible Jones with his art that looks a bit like Michael Allred. I opened it up and liked the artwork in it. So I decided to give it a try. Scout Comics, Parental Advisory. So, it's not a kid's comic. Number 1. And what's weird about this too is it's interesting. The cover has got a matte finish, but they've got glossy insides. So it makes me wonder. I wonder why they did that. Most covers are glossy, and if you're going with a glossy inside, I wonder why you'd pick a matte finish cover. I find that an interesting choice, but I was looking for a couple of new things, and then I got an issue number 3. Dose issue number 3. So again, I have no idea what this is, and didn't pick up issue 1 or 2. But again, this cover is really weird. It's got like a gray a gray film over the whole all the colors. So I found that a little strange. It's the strange covers that caught my eye this week. And then I opened it up and kind of liked it. It's black and white art on the inside, but I kind of liked it. And it looks like an adult story too. But I was like, you know what? So it's issue 3. I'll pick it up and check it out. Like I said, the art caught my eye, the cover caught my eye. I have no idea who puts this out. It's Alive? I don't even know if I've heard of them. Dose number 3, first printing. Yeah, It's Alive is the name of the publisher. So there we go with that one. That's all my comics. Let me show you a little of my art. I've been working mostly digital again this week, getting my my Patreon. I want to get started up, and I've got the first 2. I'm putting together digital magazines of my own work. So I got the first 2 of those done, and I finished up a third one, an art magazine I did a few years ago that I never finished. It's a story and artwork sort of thing. It's not quite a comic. It's not quite any. It's an art piece, I guess. But I got that done, so I'll have a few things ready to go once I start it up. And then meanwhile, I noticed I was running on low on Dreams of Things covers to ink and color. So there's the pencils on it. I've been doing these small lately, and then I blew it up and printed it out. I'm gonna ink right over this and put the colors right over that. So I'm getting here's my box. I keep when I want to work on something, I open up this box and pull out. Oh, there's one ready to go color wise. Clunk. And there's another one ready to be inked. So that's what I do. I was only down to 3 or 4 in there, so I'm like, I got to get a few more in there. So I drew this one also, and blew it up and printed it out full size. And this is where the inks will go right over that, along with the colors. And I'll stick them right in that box there, so one day when I'm like, what do I feel? I feel like working on a Dreams of Things. I'll open up the box and pick one out and either ink or color it. All right, so there you go. Some art, some comics, and you guys have a good week out there.